Before we begin, this episode does not accuse anyone of wrongdoing. We are sharing information, concerns, and personal experiences provided by the family. Everyone is considered innocent unless proven otherwise. Our goal is to raise awareness, gather information, and bring Jennifer home. If you know something, no matter how small, you can send us information anonymously. See the show notes for more details.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm with the Find Me Project. We're here today for a missing person briefing and awareness discussion regarding a missing person case for 46-year-old Jennifer Watkins. Jennifer was last seen on June 27th, 2025 in Washington, North Carolina. Today, we'll be speaking with Amber, Jennifer's sister. Before we talk about timelines or unanswered questions, we want people to understand who Jennifer is and why her disappearance matters. Our priority today is to reach people who may have information, directly or indirectly, and to make it clear that they can share it safely and remain anonymous. Before we move into the interview, I want to walk through the circumstances surrounding Jennifer's disappearance. So this is a good time for me to introduce Jennifer's sister, Amber. Amber, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to just kind of ask a couple questions as it relates to the circumstances around Jennifer or Jenny's disappearance, just to make sure that we have some of the high-level facts right. Okay. And then, that will kind of carry us into talking about Jenny's life and greater details that revolve her disappearance, if that sounds okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to the date that Jenny had disappeared or had gone missing. According to records, that is listed as June 27th, 2025. Is that correct?
Yes.
And, we have seen some different information out there, but from a high level perspective, what was the time frame on June 27th that it is believed Jenny disappeared?
Somewhere between, I believe, 6:15 and 8:15 in the morning.
Okay. And we had also seen some information that the night before, so roughly anywhere between 7 to 8 hours before Jenny would have disappeared, surveillance cameras captured images of Jenny at a speedway on 264 West. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And, just to make sure that we have an understanding of what Jenny was last seen wearing, in those surveillance camera images, can you describe maybe what she was wearing, please?
There's a gray tank dress. She has on, it looks like black sandals. They could be dark brown, but they're sandals. And she's carrying a light colored, large pocket wallet with her. She does not have a purse. It's just like one of those large wallets that you could carry everything in, kind of like a clutch.
Okay. Now, one question I have just to clarify, do you know if there's any reports if she had changed clothing? So around the exact time that she would have disappeared, do you have an understanding if she was still wearing that or was she wearing different clothing?
We know from unreliable sources that supposedly she was wearing different clothing when she went missing, but that has never been confirmed. None of that clothing. So we, the original police report or the original statements from the police or the sheriff's office were that she was wearing something different, and they removed that information. And going forward, they have said that the gray dress, tank dress, and the black sandals, those are what she's wearing.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Now, we're going to dive deeper into the circumstances around Jenny's disappearance here in just a moment. But just for any media contacts or anybody that is listening or watching any of this content, we are showing a high-level overview of the North Carolina coast. And on the map, you'll see a bullseye location. That bullseye location is the location that we are describing where Jenny was allegedly last seen in Washington, North Carolina. I'm going to slowly zoom in here so this map view will change a little bit. But the bullseye, if you're not fully familiar with this area, is actually to the northwest of Washington and to the east of Greenville. I will continue to zoom in, but the exact location is on VOA Road and Ponderosa Road. Ponderosa Road is actually this dotted line that runs to the west of VOA Road, where my cursor is hovering above. There is a shaded area that's shaded in red that we want to pay very close attention to. And if anybody lives in this area or the surrounding area, and you have any information whatsoever, maybe it's even a small piece of information that you don't think is related at all, we ask you, please send that information to us or the sheriff's department. We will put the information on how you can send that information to us and where you can remain anonymous. Based upon the substantial information that has been received so far and intelligence that's been gathered, this is a very important location in Jenny's disappearance. And, we're going to talk more about that here in just a few minutes. Before I pan off of this map view, I do want to switch to imagery. Again, just so everybody can see what this area looks like if I zoom in a little bit closer here. So this road that runs to the west is Ponderosa Road, and then the main road here is VOA Road in Washington, North Carolina.
A mission with purpose to find the missing using the power of social networking and cutting-edge technology. We're military veterans, technologists, scuba divers, and relentless seekers. From deep forests to sunken vehicles, from silence to signal, every clue matters. If you've ever felt the call to stand for something greater, this is your moment. This is the Find Me Project.
Amber, I want to start by asking you a very important question. When you think of Jennifer or Jenny, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thoughts that come to my mind are her laugh. Bright, hilarious cackle that could fill a room. My mother, her and I, we all cackle. And it's very loud. It just kind of erupts, if you will. It bubbles out to the surface. And her smile. She had this bubbly, creative energy. She loved being outdoors more than anything else. Nature grounded her in a way nothing else could.
Thank you for that. Very, very kind words. What do you miss most about Jenny?
I miss her love of simple things. She found peace in the woods, by the river, or just being outside. Working at the North Carolina estuarium meant a lot to her because it connected that natural world she loved so much.
And let me ask, what do you want people to understand about who she is beyond any headlines?
Jenny loved nature deeply. She had this creative, imaginative spirit, but she also had struggles, real ones, and those struggles shaped the last years of her life. She wasn't perfect, but she was human, and she deserved safety, dignity, respect, and to be found.
Thank you for that, Amber. We've talked quite a few times leading up to this interview here today, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Jenny was an amazing person, sister, and mother. So thank you for describing Jenny there.
You're welcome.
Now, before we start to talk about Jenny's last known contact and the circumstances around her disappearance, you may hear a few different voices during today's interview, so I want to be sure that everyone understands who those are. The first one may be Kevin Jones, who also has a great organization known as the Lost Sheep Initiative, where he searches and helps families look for missing loved ones. We also have Melissa, who is by far one of the best crime analysts and forensic profilers that I have been able to work with. So again, you may hear them throughout this interview. Now, I'd like to go back to her last known contact and maybe have you walk us through the last day that you had contact with Jenny.
Okay. Should we do the days that lead up to that event? Because there's like that whole circus of events that week.
Yeah, if we could go back,
Okay.
I guess, maybe to, that week, maybe where
Okay.
you
I
feel
know I know we're pretty much where we need to start.
okay.
Because
Yeah, that's perfect.
it does it builds. The days leading up to her disappearance were chaotic. On Tuesday night, June 24th, she was last seen by a family friend. Um, Meaning by someone who's family or family friend. That same day, her on and off partner was arrested for violating a DVPO. Jenny sent her youngest son to stay with that family friend so she could calm down and gather herself because it was a lot. She was angry, she was overwhelmed, and said something like, "I will pay for this," referring to his arrest. The next morning, June 25th, she was last seen by her roommate before leaving mid-morning. Another woman, her former partner's cousin, had stayed the night before. The plan was for the two of them to go to the beach because the former partner's cousin was filling out job applications, and this would give Jenny breathing room. On the 26th, Jenny's former partner bails out in the early afternoon from jail. Later that evening, Jenny loses her phone and contacts a family friend stating that through the cousin's phone. The last confirmed images of her were taken at Speedway on 264 that you just discussed a few minutes ago. On Friday, June 27th is when everything falls apart. Jenny is said to have gone missing between 6:15 and 8:15. Around 8:15, the cousin was found passed out in her car on Ponderosa Road. The passenger door was open, Jenny's belongings and Jenny were gone. That night, Jenny's roommate called the family friend upset. She said the cousin had returned from the beach without Jenny, claiming she had fallen asleep in the car and woke up to find the passenger door open and Jenny gone. On June 28th, Jenny's former partner moved his camper from Jenny's roommate's property to his father's. On June 29th, Jenny was officially reported missing by the family friend.
Thank you for that overview. So I want to go back and just hint, take a little bit of a deeper dive into one item that you had just spoken on, but just to make sure that listeners, watchers understand, can you describe what a DVPO is?
A DVPO is a domestic violence protective order, and they're given when a woman or a person is threatened and they have to go to court and have someone sign off that there's proof that pretty much this is a protective order that says that the other person has to stay away from them.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, I want to go back to what you had talked about regarding the family friend who had last seen Jenny.
Right.
What was the date again on that?
The date on that is the 24th.
And this particular family friend.
Yeah, it's the 24th. Sorry.
The 24th? Okay. And is this particular family friend, are they someone that you trust? It's a family trust?
Yes.
And so now outside of the 24th, any friends that are trusted or any other family members, did they have any contact with Jenny at all?
No. Jenny had reached out to one about, and I don't know if it's this week, to be honest, but I know she'd reached out to someone and left a message about needing information about, I think she wanted to use them as like a job reference. And they were out of town and they didn't get the message till later. So I think, and actually I do think it was that during that week, it's just that person was out of town and just didn't answer the phone, thought they could come back to it later.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. How was she acting on the day that you last spoke to her?
The last day that, well, I'll say the family friend spoke to her, because that's the person that last saw her. She was fearful. She was angry. She was disheveled. She was planning to send money to her oldest son for car repairs. We know she was living at her roommate's property, and her former partner was there too, violating the DVPO. She was emotionally overwhelmed, had stopped taking her prescribed medication in April for depression and anxiety. We were worried about substance abuse, and she was vulnerable, very, very vulnerable.
Thank you. So now, taking a closer look at the area where she was last seen, or allegedly last seen, Ponderosa Road, VOA Road, do you know why she was potentially walking down VOA Road?
We don't. We don't know that she was, honestly. That claim came from an unreliable source, and there's no confirmed evidence that she was ever walking on VLA Road.
Do you feel that she was, that night before, or the hours leading to her disappearance, or when she went missing, do you feel that, based upon all the information that you know or you received, your intuition, do you feel that she was out at the location of Ponderosa Road and VOA Road?
Possibly. I don't know.
Okay. Did she say where she was going or who she planned to meet that night or day?
No. I knew that she had plans, like I said, she was expected to contact the family friend to pick up her son. And then she never called. And that was unlike her.
What went through your mind when she didn't come home?
I thought Jenny was dead. My mother and I had had recurring water-based dreams about her for weeks. It was a dread that settled in before we really had any facts.
Gosh, I'm so sorry, Amber. What I want to take a different approach for just a second, because I think this is so important for everybody to understand just how special Jenny was. Can you tell us about Jenny growing up?
Haha, tenacious. Jenny grew up practically outdoors. She loved photography, hiking, kayaking, gardening, anything that connected her to nature. She collected rocks. My dad was a rock collector, arrowheads, feathers, shells. She painted, drew, stained furniture, had a huge imagination. Her own little side business, I think it was Wren Distressed, I believe is what she called it. Wren's Nest. She played t-ball and softball in school, played clarinet, bass clarinet, taught herself guitar, bass, drums, because she could learn by ear. She sang in the choir. She was talented, creative, but she also struggled heavily with self-worth.
A very special person is who it sounds Jenny was, or is.
Yes.
What made her laugh or feel most alive?
Her boys. Her 3 sons lit her up. They were her world. And on top of that, anything creative or outdoors. Like the outdoors, that girl lived outdoors.
What would you say she was most proud of?
Her children. Always her children. And she loved working at the North Carolina Estuarium. That was probably the one job that I think she ever held that she truly, truly adored every minute of it. Even when it stressed her out. What she got to do with the public, what she got to teach other people about nature, that to her was her world.
That's amazing to hear. Yeah, I don't think I know what the answer will be to this, but what kind of mother and sister is she?
As a mother, she was protected, devoted, loving, and silly. Silly in a way that even my kids, who called her Aunt Wren, she just made voices and came up with silly songs and just things that were so out of the box. It made everybody laugh. And as a sister, she was creative, fierce, whimsical, effervescent, full of moxie. But she could also be overwhelming and unpredictable. She was both light and storm.
When she disappeared, what part of her life worried you the most?
The people around her, the instability, the questionable relationships, friendships that she had, and her sons, especially the two youngest who were minors. How is this going to impact them?
In the months before Jenny went missing, was she in any type of relationship?
Yes, she was in an on and off relationship.
Were there people in her life who caused her stress or fear?
Yes, that former partner.
Did she
That
ever
relationship was
confide?
just turbulent. I mean, she had multiple DVPOs.
Okay.
Some of her friends were questionable too.
Okay. Did she ever confide in you about feeling unsafe in any way?
Yes. Um, over more than a decade, she told me, texted me, messaged me at least 100 times that she felt unsafe.
Now, I think this is a good time to uh, pivot a little bit here and ask a question that our internal team had identified. So, just to summarize here in 30 seconds, when we work and help with missing person cases, we have a very strict process that we follow, and oftentimes we work with some of the absolute best intelligence professionals, profilers who help us build a pattern of life overview and profile. And as part of that process, it helps with predictive modeling, predictive analytics. But one of the key things that is always reviewed is public records. And we had seen that Jenny, according to public records, had taken steps involving child support and or custody. Is that
Yes,
true?
yes,
And so when we look again, referencing these public records, not only do we see Jenny's name, Jennifer Watkins, but we see a man's name that our
hmm
team wanted to verify, just to be sure that this is a person that may have had a relationship with Jenny. And the name on the court dockets, several court dockets, is Samuel Justin Foster. Does that name sound familiar with where Jenny may have had a relationship at one time with Samuel
yes,
Justin Foster? Yes,
yes. He went by Justin, or she called him
Justin.
sometimes Jay.
Now, did Jenny and Justin or Jay have children or have
They
children
have one
together?
together, her youngest
One
child.
together. Okay. Now, how did she feel about making the decision to open any type of child support or custody
Determined.
against Justin?
She was determined, but she was also anxious and fearful.
Did she tell you what she was fearful of?
Retaliation.
Retaliation.
Him taking their child, him making false accusations, physical abuse, harm.
Thank you for that. It'll certainly help as we continue to build out the final stages of the pattern of life and profile for Jenny and those within her inner circle. So thank you, Amber.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now, where was Jenny staying at the time of her disappearance?
Jenny was staying with, she was living with, she had a roommate, or actually, I think she was the roommate, if you will, that she moved in with someone on Deer Track Drive off Cherry Run Road in Washington, North Carolina. And that Cherry Run Road runs directly into VOA Road.
Were there people around her that concerned you?
Yes.
did she ever express fear about the people she was around?
Yes, mainly her former partner.
And did you feel she was in danger at any point?
Constantly.
Now, these next few questions I want to ask very carefully. These are based on information that we have received. A lot of
Right.
this information has been submitted to us, and the person opted to remain anonymous, or the people opted to remain anonymous. So we have not verified any of this, and as a matter of fact, we don't fully know who they are referencing.
Okay.
But some of the people have raised concerns about the possibility of foul play. What worries you most about what may have happened to Jenny?
Her long history of unreported DVPO violations, whether she didn't report them, whether family she was staying with them or family friends she was staying with didn't report them, and the instability of the people around her.
Now, as part of the information or intelligence that was received, I'm going to phrase the question like this first. Have you heard about possible water or beach related locations as it relates to Jenny's missing person case?
Yes. Multiple sources have said she may have been dumped off a boat near Crystal Beach, and there were also rumors around Pamlico Beach.
Now, do you believe Jenny would have gone near the water voluntarily?
Yes, she loved the water, but not if she felt threatened.
Now, just to be clear, and I want to ensure that all of our listeners and watchers understand this, the focus is not just around water. We have received information that is related to land as well. We actually have more information that is related to land-based searches, especially around VOA Road and Ponderosa Road.
Right.
But now, these next questions are the ones I really want to be careful of because we have not had the opportunity to verify a lot of this. Like I mentioned earlier, our team was able to perform validation on public records, and that's why we're going to bring some of this into scope of conversation.
Okay.
But we had been told that someone connected to Jenny may be exhibiting similar controlling behavior toward another woman, or actually how it was received to us was other women, so more than one. Have you heard anything like this?
Yes. Jenny's former partner was convicted of 2 DVPO violations against a previous partner on December 11th, 2025, Jenny's birthday. 10 other violations were dropped that same day because she had fled the state. Multiple women had DVPOs against them.
How does that make you feel in relation to your sister's case?
Angry that she wasn't protected, and more certain that he played a role, whether primary or partial, in her disappearance.
Amber, I really appreciate you answering those questions. I know that some of them can certainly be tough and challenging. So thank you. Now, I also want to bring into scope discussion around non-foul play possibilities.
Right.
Whenever we look at a missing person case, we're not law enforcement. We don't investigate any type of crime. As a matter of fact, we don't do any investigation. We are solely focused on finding the missing person. In many cases, we don't even want to know or care about what happened. We just want to help bring resolution and answers to the family, to the community. So again, I just want to mention this one more time before I ask the next question around non-foul play. If anybody has information, even if you think it's not valuable, please send that to us or to the sheriff's department. Any piece of information can help. Now, Amber, is there any chance Jenny could have become lost, disoriented, or had a medical emergency?
Yes, it was extremely hot. She, like I said, we know that she wasn't seen after the 27th, but she wasn't reported until the 29th. And those days, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, temperatures were in the upper 90s, close to 100 degrees. That's not even in factoring in the humidity into it. Um, she likely didn't have fluids on her, or if she did, she didn't have enough to certainly stay out there for that length of time. And she could have been disoriented from substance abuse.
Now, did she ever struggle with stress or confusion?
Yes, she was treated for anxiety and depression, but she stopped taking her medication in April of
Okay.
2025.
Again, just one more time, this is why it's so important. If anybody lives in the area of Ponderosa Road and VOA Road, or any other location where maybe you have bumped into or encountered Jenny in passing, or maybe you have heard information, rumors, any bit of that can be helpful. So please send that over to us. Refer to the link in today's show notes, or you can go over to the findmeproject.com and utilize the submit a tip feature where you can remain 100% anonymous. Now, I want to change direction for a moment. And can you help me identify what is the law enforcement agency that is handling Jenny's missing person case?
The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office of North Carolina. I stipulated that
Since,
because there's two Beaufort counties, one in South
Beaufort
Carolina
County.
and North Carolina.
Okay. Well, and I'm glad that I phrased it that way intentionally because I have a tremendous time. I either say Beaufort or Beaufort. So you're local. I'm going to go with Beaufort.
Right.
Since Jenny went missing, how has communication with the sheriff's office been?
Since Jenny went missing, let's see. In the first 2 months, communication was really steady. As time went on, it declined sharply. A request in August of 2025 for them to partner with the NCSBI was ignored. Emergency resources weren't alerted until late September, nearly 3 months after Jenny had gone missing. By October, communication shifted from phone calls to weekly emails, and even those became inconsistent. Public comments on our Facebook page were disabled on October 28th, just days after a major manhunt in a neighboring county received extensive resources, and community members began asking why similar urgency wasn't shown for Jenny. I post daily and weekly in some of the groups there about her and just keep her face there, and people were beginning to ask me or state she would have to be classified as a criminal to be found. The sheriff did not attend a scheduled meeting with the district attorney's office on November 7th with my family. No attempt was made to reschedule it. He also missed a meeting he arranged with Kevin Jones of the Lost Sheep Initiative on Jenny's birthday, December 11th. About a week later, her Crime Stoppers reward was increased to $10,000, something we were not informed beforehand, nor until days afterward. We sent a formal family request for a review and reclassification of Jenny's case on January 2nd, 2026 to a suspicious death or homicide investigation. We also asked they work with our two nonprofit investigative teams, the Lost Sheep Initiative and the Find Me Project. We received no response. The Lost Sheep Initiative sent a certified information request on January 22nd, 2026, and they responded this morning. Despite 200 days passing, I have spoken to the sheriff once.
Just one time.
Yep. In the initial meeting that we went in on day 27.
Have your formal requests for updates or reviews been answered?
No.
How does the lack of communication make you feel as Jenny's sister?
Angry, disrespected, deprioritized, ignored, and deeply concerned for the community, because if you won't look for one woman who went missing, who's the next case you're not going to go look for? It's unprofessional and it lacks accountability.
what would
especially
accountability?
given her history, especially
Sure.
her history.
Absolutely. But you just talked about accountability. What would accountability and transparency look like to you right now?
Following up on all leads, holding a press conference for the community, reviewing and reclassifying Jenny's case, sharing information with our two nonprofits, which are actively working on it more than we feel like their office is, providing regular updates to our family, engaging in open communication, and pursuing charges where appropriate. It would look like treating Jenny's disappearance with the seriousness it warrants.
Do you feel the family has been treated with the urgency and respect this case deserves?
Emphatically, no.
Amber, I want to ask you, one final question, and then I want to double back and see if you have anything in addition that we may have not talked about. But what would you want to communicate to anybody who has information about Jenny's disappearance? What would you want to tell them?
To speak up. She has 3 sons and a granddaughter. And I know her boys need answers. They want answers. My mother needs answers. Our family needs answers. But my biggest concerns are our mother and her boys.
Very well said. And just to reiterate it, I know I've said it a couple of times, but Kevin Jones with the Lost Sheep Initiative has done phenomenal work, and both the Lost Sheep Initiative and the Find Me Project are immediately ready to move forward with any type of land and water-based searches. We have a multitude of resources that are available, and any piece of information, even if you feel like it's not important, it's a piece to the puzzle. And when you start to put them all together, you see the big picture, and it will absolutely help. So again, there's lots of information on how you can submit an anonymous tip, how you can reach us through encrypted messages. We don't care what happened. We have one sole purpose, and that is to find where Jenny is. Amber, before I open to see if Melissa and or Kevin has any additional remarks, is there anything that we may have missed or any other information that you think we need to talk about?
I don't. I'm trying to make sure. Go back through my notes and just see if we. I think the only one that we probably didn't really go into there was one about deeper concerns. What we had talked about prior about how was there anyone in her life that could be controlling or abusive?
Yep.
And what could make someone feel that way? Her substance abuse, the injuries she sustained over several years, and the way she tried to navigate family dynamics while still tied to her former partner. That is a big stressor.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. And again, I mentioned this in the very beginning. I just want to thank you. I know how challenging this can be. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of respect to you for coming on here, talking about Jenny's disappearance, talking about her life, especially from a sister, and just how great of a mother that she is. Kevin and Melissa. Kevin, I'll start with you if that's okay. Any additional remarks or anything from your perspective? And before, I should probably say, before we even get there, I just want to just acknowledge all of the incredible work that you have done, your organization, the Lost Sheep Initiative. But anything, Kevin, from your area that you want to talk about?
Well, First, I appreciate that. And now, Amber, you finally get to hear the country voice from Beaufort County here. We've only talked through Facebook Messenger, but
Right?
um, no, I mean, I keep picking up stuff. Like I said, I'm putting together first a timeline, and then a thing of happenings. That's the only way I know to call it, and then character connections of all the people I've heard about or talked to or whatever else that I'll be sending to both of you guys. And I told Amber earlier, the sheriff's department, due to her pressure, has finally come through, and I don't know what they're sending us, but sending both to her and me, I believe. And I will get you a copy of it too, of the at least the basic information that they have. I'm not expecting them to give us, their full investigation. That would be crazy.
Right.
But Amber, I have learned, as I've learned with other cases I'm working on, it's just incredible. Family members who can do this, it takes a lot. And she's very smart and very sharp, and she kind of knows what needs to be done. And I think, Mark, the people like you and me are just here to help her because she
Yep.
can do it herself.
Yep.
But
I agree. And I mean, you said it perfect, Kevin. And Amber talked about this earlier, but she does. Again, this just shows the type of sister she is and how much Jenny meant to her and the
absolutely,
family, the community. But she posts every day,
she does.
every day.
She does.
So,
And that's what you have to do to keep it in people's minds, or they'll forget.
Right.
And the more
yep,
And
uncomfortable,
I don't want them to forget her. I don't want to forget her sons. I don't want to forget her as a human being, as a part of that community, because they were all there. Like her sons, I moved away from there, but she and her sons, they're all part of Beaufort County.
Mhm.
So this is something that is like pretty much in the rumor mill all day, whether or not the sheriff's office is dealing with it or not. I know her oldest is at least hearing about it.
yeah. And switching over to Melissa here in just a moment. So, again, Melissa is an incredible crime analyst, forensic profiler. And the reason I actually, Melissa and I have worked cases in the past, and she's great at working cold cases in particular. But I asked Melissa to join specifically because she was not briefed on this case beforehand. So I wanted her to listen to the circumstances, the facts, and then Melissa and I are going to review, and she constructs, Kevin, kind of just like what you talked about, one of the best timelines, and it's just rather incredible. But Melissa, let me turn it over to you for a second. Anything you want to highlight or talk through?
Well, thank you very much again for the opportunity to be here, and it's great to know all y'all. Amber, I just want to say, I mean, just watching you and hearing you share from your heart, and I want to say that so many times I've seen family members with the drive and the love that you have bring their loved one home. And however that ends up looking, I hope for the very best in this situation. But it's because of people like you that these cases get solved. And I'm happy to be here today, a part of that, in an effort to bring Jenny home. I know how important that is, and I see a lot of power in you, okay? So
Thank you.
the world needs to see that. And you deserve the opportunity to be heard, to be seen, to tell the world about who your sister is and who she is to your family, her sons, her granddaughter. It's a granddaughter, right?
Yes,
Oh, how old is she?
she'll be 2 in May.
Okay. So all of you deserve the truth. And that's ultimately what I aim to get to the bottom of. And coming on without knowing anything, you know, what's important for me is I want to emphasize that from an investigative standpoint, it's so important to have a proper reconstructing of the timeline. So to have these wonderful people coming together for you, it's necessary. And that's why
Right.
having law enforcement answering you and putting this out there and giving your sister the voice that she deserves is so important because we need to understand the clarity of, of her life, who was in her life, all those details. We need to understand more than what we could cover today, right? The last
Right.
confirmed contact, last verified sighting, digital activity, proximity. All of those things are so important to access very critical windows that all of us need, whether we're investigating, whether we're trying to find where she is. I know you had mentioned quite a few factors that were going on. She was very vulnerable at the time. She had a lot of fear and stress. And so, what I do is I do my best not to make any assumptions about anyone without a complete factual picture. And
Right.
I think that's also why it's so important that what they're doing for you today, what we're doing together, is necessary. And I think it's important also to say that we have to understand that full timeline. So does the public, what her documented history is. And there's so much that goes into understanding who your sister is. That's important. I was just so glad to hear about her today, about her spirit and how she like grew up outside, and I feel like I would have liked to be a part of her childhood, because I was always outside creaking myself, going, I'm from Missouri, but ultimately, when you share with the world who she is in a combined effort, that's a lot of power to bring someone home.
Right.
And so I think that responsible analysis, it requires evidence, context, and coordination with investigators. I think it's very important for the search efforts as well, that we build that proper timeline. So I'm here for you to do that.
Thank you.
And yes, and speculation, it never helps families or cases. But I would love to dig deeper with this and, into this and be a part of that effort. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Well spoken. All right. So again, the links to send any information over whatsoever and remain anonymous, encrypted messaging will be in the show notes. You can, of course, always send that information direct to the sheriff's office as well. We'll be sure to put their contact information in any type of documentation and notes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and take care.
Left the light on by the window like I always do, just in case tonight's the night you finally come walking through. Ooh. I replay our last conversation, searching for a sign. Every stranger's face I see, for a second I think it's thine. Where did you go? Just an echo in the silence. I'm holding out hope against the odds, against the science. I'll keep a space for you right here inside me. Ooh. They say that time's a healer, but the clock just stands so still. Every sunrise is a question mark upon a lonely hill. Where did you go? Just an echo in the silence. I'm holding out hope against the odds, against the science. I keep a space for you right here inside.